Alright. Let's see if we can't get some live stream going. Howdy everybody. Let's fade this music out. Alright, so I had a few minutes to go live here. I'm just looking at a few things and I thought maybe I'd share as I'm working on my charts here a couple of things going on in the crypto space. So obviously what we've got here, we see this news that Bitcoin rises after US Congress passes 900 billion ad for Bitcoin. This is a weird headline. Anyway, $900 billion advertisement for Bitcoin, says Tyler Winklevoss. Yeah, so below 900 billion stimulus, and what's interesting to me is that immediately Bitcoin reacted on that news, and the dollar though is holding pretty strong. It's actually getting bid here this morning. But my observation is that Bitcoin is really starting to react more as a hedge against uncertainty than it even used to in the past. This kind of immediate pop was interesting to me. Now across the altcoin landscape, I'm seeing some things here. I'm seeing some green shoots and signs of life in a few places. You see several projects this morning are starting to try to bottom versus Bitcoin. Monero being one of them. Change that to red. And then we had some other projects that really got bid versus Bitcoin. Zilliqa being one of them. And Theta being another here recently. And then Elrond's been looking really nice. Actually, I should probably try to enter a trade on Elrond. The problem is I have limited funds left on Binance myself, so I have to be very careful, picky with what I do there. Unfortunately, Elrond's not available on Kraken. But it's been a good little run here. I'm going to flip that to green. One of my little sleeper picks, API 3, had a nice breakout. We're coming in for some. Now this is a short chart because this is the first USD tether chart. So like stable coin chart that I could get by OKX. So that's going to be the first one that we're going to be watching here. But very standard API 3 breakout, retest, resumption. Looking really good. So I'm starting to see signs of life, but when we look at the Bitcoin dominance, we see that Bitcoin's come into this, we've come above this area that I thought we'd come into, maybe get some resistance, and even the trend line popped above that. So right now is not the time to be swing trading altcoins. We need to wait for in general, the Bitcoin dominance to drop back below this 66 and give us a confirmation signal that we're going back and below it and staying below it. Now on the other end of the spectrum, specific projects. Now I did post that I've entered some trades here trying to bottom fish, and I've been down on these. These have pretty wide stops on them, so I'm technically in 3 very, very, very small trades. But ADA, ETH, and Link. But for all 3 of these, I'm waiting for, before I enter any, this is like, maybe not even a 10% position trade. I'm waiting for us to clear at least this outer trend line on ADA, on BTC chart, to maybe get into a trade and be careful as we come into this resistance, see what happens. If we break out of that, then I'd want to be back in it, but we got some work to do. ETH. So ETH BTC is looking really bad, right? He's in his terrible downtrend. I wonder if he's going to try to double bottom here. We'll see. You have to keep an eye on it. I wouldn't enter any trades on it, obviously, unless you're. I wouldn't short it, that's for sure. But the thing I was watching, go back a bit, we're on this very kind of key level. So this is our kind of, we had this bottoming pattern, tried to break out, rejected, tried to break out, rejected, but hit some good pops. Consolidated all through May, June, and then July broke out, right? And then we had that big DeFi run up to August, and we've been in a downtrend since then. However, at a very macro perspective, we go to the 3-day, it's not as unhealthy as you might think, just because we had this really nice bottoming pattern, lots of consolidation there. You know, in a very macro, maybe even a weekly, this is on a weekly time scale, this is pretty much a breakout, retest, maybe a double retest. So if we can get out of these levels here, we're looking good on ETH. What I'm starting to wonder, these levels that we had in the last bull run and my take profit levels, you see in that box. Hey Luis, what I'm starting to wonder is if we don't get the same level of altcoin. I said before in other videos that I think people might be disappointed by the altcoin cycle this time. So there's going to be some trading opportunities, but I think we might not get the same upside. And why is that? Well, because we can kind of clearly see, you know, something I've said several times before on this Bitcoin liquid index chart. If we go and overlay our DXY, we can see that there is definitely an inverse correlation between the dollar and Bitcoin going on, and it's playing out now, and you can see it happening almost, you know, in the news cycle, just happening all the time. Anytime there's stimulus news, dollar gets weaker, Bitcoin gets stronger. So, you know, I think because of the macroeconomic situation, Bitcoin's really going to be the predominant trade. But, you know, I don't know if, you know, I don't know that, I don't think speculation is going to be as rife as it was a couple of years ago. But I think DeFi names will still get a big boost here at some point. But that's just what I'm watching. So Bitcoin dominance though, now's at the time. Now I made those couple of videos yesterday about some of my macro holding positions and my some, you know, potential 100x kind of breakout potentials, or not breakout potentials, but 100x, you know, next year potential small caps. That's what I was trying to say. DXY is getting bid here this morning. This is interesting to me. Are we risk off in the markets? I haven't really looked at the markets. Let's go take a quick look at the markets. Metals are off a little bit. It's getting volatile. It's just such low volume right now. Everything moves. Just low liquidity. Everything's gonna move kind of sporadically. So we got SPX just kind of consolidating. NASDAQ consolidating. And the Russell. I guess that stimulus gave the small caps kind of the biggest boon, and that's the Russell, so there you go. So, markets aren't really off. We're not going risk off. The dollar's just getting bid here. That's probably then, I mean, to me it would be a dead cat bounce. I mean, it's obviously been a very dead cat since it started selling off earlier this year. So, probably just getting another dead cat bounce here. I thought this would happen, right? We'd come into this trend line. But on the crypto front, man, Bitcoin just looks so strong. And we've got a CTM resumption signal here this morning, obviously. So on a 12-hour, which is what I trade on, you know, pretty clearly, breakout, retest, resumption off of that trend line. I'm kind of surprised that we're looking to resume off here already. Going back to the USD charts, I was looking at this earlier too. So Jordan pointed out that we were gonna, ETH looks like it was bull flagging. ADA's consolidating up here, and this is getting to kind of be on the USD chart, you know, some sort of a, make these blue. You're getting a bit of a consolidation pattern here. We're making higher lows, higher lows, and then not really making higher highs, but we're making higher lows as we march up here. So we're definitely forming kind of a, it could almost be a bearish signal too, but it's consolidating nonetheless. Something like that. Yeah, that's almost a bearish pattern. if you drew it like this, it'd be kind of potentially bearish. But it just depends on which way it breaks. I mean, they can break both ways. It's just more likely. A pattern that looks like that breaks down more likely than it breaks up. So we'll keep an eye on ADA. Link is, I think, bottomed out. Actually, my mom sent me a text this morning and said, hey, so I'm looking to add some more crypto. And I said, well, and she's buying with USD. I think it's her base, going to be her base, what she's watching. All my family, my friends. I told her Link's a good buy, and that was because of this. So we kind of had a breakout, retest, resumption here, but breakdown, up, out, and it was right there that I said, yeah, I think Link's a good buy now. I got put above that little line. And we're holding this lower trend line. I mean, it depends. These trend lines can be very subjective. Depends if you want to draw it to those wicks there. We were below it, now we're back above it. But we got all these touches in here, and then the bodies of those candles, touch, and then the bodies down here. So those I'm just calling that on that horizontal, and this is that trend line. So we bounced off that trend line on the USD for Link. So I think Link, morning, Satye, is that right? So Link, I think Link is looking really good actually. It's just continue on that uptrend channel, and I realize versus BTC it's not looking good. I actually started to, but we're on a key horizontal support as well on Link. So a lot of these are coming into key horizontal supports. ETH, Link, versus BTC, they're coming into key horizontal support, and ADA would be another potential one there. So we'll see what happens. Not a good time to swing trade them, but good to keep an eye on them, keep watching. Now I was gonna look at some news items here. Now we're back above this key 620 level on a short time frame on ETH. Got its bid here this morning, so we haven't closed above it even on a 4 hour. So like that could very well just be a wick when we're all said and done. Not even on the 1 hour yet. Wow. So it just popped up there. All right, good. I've got it. I'm glad I got it right. Satye. Okay. Back to the news though. We have, I think this is probably more noise, but 100K BTC options expire on Christmas. There's your expiration right there, bar. So might be a little bit of volatility. Could be up, could be down, you know. But it might just cause some, I don't know that it's going to really matter all that much. I mean, it's such big inflows that I think these options are less and less viable, because these options were printed back, you know, now there's been so much inflow into the market, it may absorb it pretty well. We'll see what happens. All right, this is the big news of the day. XRP plunges 21% as the SEC targets Ripple. So now this asks what's next. I don't want to try to predict the future, but I think XRP is going to be under some pressure here. You see here on CoinDesk, so I've been over here at Cointelegraph. Yeah. CoinDesk had a little thing here about talking about what the CEO had to say about it. It's going to keep pressure under Ripple, and what it's also going to do is, because they're getting some public scrutiny, they're not going to be able to manipulate the price. They're going to have to back off on that, I think. So we'll see if that ends up being bullish or bearish for them. Maybe they can't sell XRP to the market like they would want it to because they're under some scrutiny, so they just hold off on that and the price goes up. I doubt it because of the negative bearish news here. Yeah, CME futures expire. So, you know, I don't know that it's. We'll watch the charts January 25th. That'd be fun to watch. Another little thing here. This is kind of obvious, but gas. So there's been a lot of news about gas this year, gas fees on Ethereum, especially in the last 6 months. And it, you know, Uniswap is the #1 gas burner, and there's a lot of stuff going on right now trying to fix these gas issues. But there's some manipulation going on within the Ethereum ecosphere where you can manipulate through gas fees some trading activity. So and they blame it on the miners, but I'm a miner and I'm not doing that, so I don't know. But yeah, the big miners obviously. So this will be interesting to watch. I do think that there's some Ethereum 2.0 is trying to address the gas issues, but B, um, there's other projects that are trying to fix the gas issues as well. So we'll see. Hopefully those continue to make progress on the gas front, so that it's not. So if anybody doesn't know what gas is, so that's how you pay for it. If you have a smart contract of some type, how you pay for the compute resources that you consume to validate the contract. You pay for that with gas. It's the more gas you give, which is just burnt ether basically. The more gas that you give a contract, the more likely you are to get your contract processed in a timely manner. So miners just pick up the top, whoever's paying the most gas is what they're picking up and validating first. So the more gas you give it, the faster it goes. That's why I call it gas. All right, take a look at the some movement here in the top 10. So XRP is obviously under pressure. Everybody else is up a little bit. My pet projects, these two down here, 7 and 8, Chainlink, Cardano. I'm just waiting for them to overtake XRP this market cycle. That's going to be fun to watch that if that develops. Some more movement down here, though. We had with Elrond making big moves. I wanted to see where they moved to. So Cosmos 26, VeChain 28, Uni 31. Let's go down here. Hold on. Compound. Elrond was at 50 something. Yeah, it's 51 now. It was like in the 60s. So Elrond's making moves. It's a project to keep an eye on. 7-day, 32% up. Decred, it's up 30% as well. Alright. And there was one other project I wanted to take a look at. This I've never even read on, but it's up 80%. So this is something I'm going to go research. Why the heck is that up so much? And was there another one I noticed while flipping through here earlier? Alright, and then somebody's dropped out of the top 50 here. Let's go find them. I think these guys were in the top 50. Curve, or top 100. Curve fell out. That's what it was. I was looking at. Okay. Swissborg, what is up with this? What is this project? I don't know anything about it. Aims to decentralize wealth management, making it fun, fair, and community-centric. Headquartered in Switzerland. So this is what I kind of do here regularly myself. I just go through here and see who's making moves up and down. Hold on, guys. I got to be right back. All right, sorry about that. I'm back. When I'm live streaming in the middle of the day, I have people here working on my house, so somebody's knocking on my door, even though it says do not disturb. Do I trade crypto on Uniswap? I have. I don't actively because two things. One, most of that stuff is done on chain, and it especially like how do I put this? It's been less expensive for me just to buy the main tokens on like a central exchange and then put them to a self custody wallet than to mess with Uniswap too terribly much. But I have bought some stuff on Uniswap. Like API 3 was one I think I bought on Uniswap maybe. But the other thing is Uniswap's on chain, and so it just takes longer and it's not really good for super active trading. So if you're going to do like leverage positions, then you can't do that type of stuff. All right, NXM. Okay, so this is, I'm trying to remember what this one is. I've heard of it. So it's an alternative to insurance. Okay, that one's up. And then Curve DAO is a decentralized exchange, and they just kind of fell out. But they've been one I've been keeping an eye on. All right. Well, I think I don't have a whole lot. Oh, is ETH starting to get a bid here? So look at this. BTC, ETH, BTC. Here we go. Here we go. Finally getting some life. My goodness, thank you. Thank goodness. All right. So ETH just got a bit of a bid here off of this support I was watching. Hopefully we form a double bottom here. Let's go to a longer time frame. All right, and then there was one other key one I was looking at to see when it would get a bounce. Algo's kind of wanting to start a bottom here. What's the other project I was thinking about? Sushi, how's Sushi doing? Sushi fell out of this channel here. Let's get rid of that. I opened an account, Kraken, ready to jump in at ADA, some others when time is right. Might just open a small position, incoming stimulus check. Yeah, so Theta, API 3, here we go. API 3 is coming in. Is API 3 on? Let's go double check where they're all at. Yeah, they're on Uni, but you have to buy them. Oh, you can buy them now with USDC, looks like. I had to buy them with wrapped Ether, or Ether. Let's go check API 3 real fast. I just want to see something. What exchanges? They're supposed to be making on some new exchanges here soon. So you go to the market pairs tab here, kind of see where they're all traded. All right, yeah, Uni, OX, OKX, Gnosis. This is a small one. Okay, yeah, I mean right now, so the best place to buy them is either, I guess, OKX, OX, or Uni. I was going to add some on this this pattern here. Just kind of keeping an eye on. So we had the breakout retest resumption happened right there. I didn't add, so I'm kind of waiting for a second level validation to kind of add some. Actually, this is the retest candle here, isn't it? So above here would be a good add. So maybe I'll put it in, or I'll try to get on there and get. I can send some USDC over there too now. I don't have much USDC. I don't think I have any. I think it's all Ether, so I'll just send Ether over there. Brandon, what are your favorite BTC pairs which offer good trading setups? Okay. Right, like the best trading setups I see on the board right now with BTC pairs. So if you want to bottom fish, I think Ethereum's probably bottoming out here. So if you get, if we get back into these trend lines here, maybe up above, you clear this area, all these resistances here. So you're going to have this descending trend line, get back into this uptrend channel, clear that horizontal resistance, and back above here, get a breakout above here, and maybe you can start to add there. That might present a good setup because I do think Ethereum's probably bottoming out Bitcoin. That's my feeling. Link has got some work to do. ADA is another good one. It's very clear that if we break this outer trend line and we get a good resumption signal out of here, you can probably put on a piece of a trade and then really add above here. And I'll show you something. I mean, if you go back historically, we have a lot of headroom. So just waiting for that little bit of move from there to above this trend line and above that resistance, that's not a lot to wait for, honestly. You know, and then this is the whole area that we can work with. It's a lot to work with on the upside for ADA. So that's what I'd be waiting for on the ADA setup. Those are my favorite. I mean, these are my 3 favorite HODL positions, so they would also be my 3 favorite trades because I think they're strong projects. Now, outside of that, I've seen setups form on DOT, and that one faded, so never mind. The other one I was watching was a bottom. EOS, I'm waiting to bottom out. It's a pretty strong project. The one I showed earlier wasn't XMR, so Monero. They're bottoming. You know, this support has just been super strong. So you're on like key support on Monero. So if you wanted to take just a speculative, you know, open a small position based on the fact that we've just been holding this support line so staunchly for so long, that might be one to look into. But again, another clear trade on Monero is getting outside of that trend, that long-term downtrend. Break above this, and that's, I mean, it's a small amount to be patient and wait for us to get above all this mess, and then you get out here, and sky's the limit. So Monero, I'm actually going to move Monero up because I've been wanting to trade him. I've had a good trade on him in this breakout, but then he hit, you know, that's when I drew this line in, is when we came into here and came back down. I went, that's what's happening. All right. Ave is a very strong project, but to me they're in this descending channel. I can't necessarily pin a good breakout spot outside of this outer trend line. So maybe that outer trend line is just it. But Ave's already pretty big. So you asked that question. It's kind of a long answer because I'm going through a whole bunch of pairs. Yeah, we're waiting for things to break out. Algo, another good project. I had a trade on it. I got stopped out. Curve, XTZ, Zcash. These all looking not good. Synthetics. This one's looking good. So, you know, we're on support here. Break above this little downtrend. This is setting up a really good potential. I'm gonna move this up. So synthetics and SNX. I say synthetics, and my brain is going, wait a minute, is that right? So I'm gonna double check that, guys. There's so many projects out there. Yeah, synthetics. Liquidity provider. Okay. And then Waves was the one Jordan asked about, and I remember now why I kind of never really looked at Waves. Waves was used a lot for ICO, so they were around. They were like probably the second largest blockchain back, you know, last cycle when Ethereum was the big one. Waves was kind of number 2, and this platform was used a lot for a lot of ICOs, and so it kind of got a bad name for me. I never really looked at Waves since then because Waves was used a lot for these ICO pump and dumps. It was the platform that was pretty big on that. So, but it did pop here recently. It's been around a long time. It's very solid protocol, but ecosystem. So, one you can watch. I probably won't keep too close an eye on it just because, again, to me it just had such a bad reputation of enabling so many of these pump and dump ICOs that came online that I don't want to mess with it. Hope you're well. Riot Blockchain is looking to increase attachment. Yes, I saw that. Smile. That was in the news. Did I have it pulled up here? I did see that on one of these somewhere. I did see that news about Riot increasing. What was on? I think it was here. Search Riot. Yep. 15,000 machines from Bitmain, increasing its hashing power by 65%. Yep. Yeah, ETE BTC. I don't know what that is. I guess that was a typo. I don't know what ETE is. I think you might have been ETH BTC. Okay. It's also ETH. Yes. So remember what happened last cycle, and I don't, I'm starting to pay attention less to last cycle just because the macroeconomics and everything's so different about this cycle. VeChain's one of my other good projects. Hold on, I wanted to see. Oh, VeChain's not available. That's right. VeChain's looking decent. So we had this kind of breakout of this long extended downtrend on VeChain. I had horizontal here, so we're down below that. So change that red. So yeah, VeChain, we need to get back above this, probably. Orchid. I think Orchid, it's just a tiny VPN project, so I don't know that it, it's not one, they don't have a monster use case, besides bandwidth and provider, really, a decentralized bandwidth provider. It's not really a huge market because it's a commodity thing nowadays. That's kind of the only problem I always had with Orchid. It's a cool little project. They got some decent nano payments technology and stuff, but it's just the real world monetization of that use case isn't super huge. And they may have more, in the pipeline, more things that they'll be doing with the platform. I wanted to show one last thing before I wrap up here today. Again, we go back to our last cycle. Let's put our ETH. Let's put ETH USD on here from Coinbase, and blue is fine. Obviously, you can see it tracks Bitcoin very closely, but for the bajillionth time, when Bitcoin made its all-time high, ETH just kind of languished, and ETH BTC was also really low. But see, ETH didn't quite. So BTC made this run, and ETH didn't quite keep up. And it wasn't until after, so we had a sell-off, and ETH followed the sell-off. But this second, it was like right through here, when this sell-off started to happen, that money started flowing into ETH. So we are like right here, somewhere. Now, we may not drop this cycle, we may continue up, but we've broken the all-time high, so we're beyond that point. So we're somewhere in this area compared to last cycle. So the next sell-off we have in BTC, funds may flow from BTC into alts. I'm keenly watching to see if that happens, or if because of the macroeconomics and the money printing going on, if instead we get this resumption signal and BTC makes another leg up, and then alts may continue to languish until we get, our next leg up in Bitcoin, and then a sell-off. We'll see. Don't sleep on Theta, up 20%. Yeah, I showed Theta earlier, right here. I definitely don't sleep on Theta. The problem is Theta's not one that I can actively trade on Kraken, which is where I've been doing most of my trading. So all these projects that are on Binance, I'm not super enthused about trading them because I just have a very small amount of funds left over on Binance. On purpose too, because the whole Binance US, people can't open Binance accounts, and I guess I'm grandfathered in, but I'm afraid of what's going to happen to that account, so I can't in good conscience leave a good amount of money over there for trading, because with the fact that people can't even open a Binance account where I'm at, and I just happen to be grandfathered in, I don't want to be stuck with my funds getting locked or something. Oh, got another BTC fund coming online. Alright, this person is, I'm going to have to ban this. Hey, I got my first bot in here. How do I ban this person? Remove. Report. Okay. I don't know what this. You can exchange Theta on Change Now IO. Yeah, I've made it. All right. Yeah. So maybe I should look at a non-custodial for Theta. Maybe that's the best way to play that. I will go see what non-custodials have Theta available and keep an eye on it. So nice little breakout on Theta for sure. So we'll just keep an eye on it. I'm gonna move that one on top of this list here. It's my Binance list. Yeah, so I guess I'm gonna have to find. So these that are marked yellow. What I'll do? It's good. That's a good point. These are all projects I care about that I want to be involved in. While BNB is, I mean, I don't know. I actually like Binance's token, so I don't mind holding some of it too. But I'll have to see what exchanges. Maybe I can move to another exchange for these. But back to my main Kraken list. You see signs of life here. We got some amount of green at least today. ETH looks like it's wanting the bottom. I hope. We'll see. We got some. I mean, you know, it's not that big of a deal. I don't think for us to be patient and wait for these, for us to retake some key levels. Like just get outside of this trend line here. We got some good trading opportunity on a bunch of these. Someone posted that Bitcoin whale inflows are increasing. Potential correction soon. Correction downward. Yeah. Someone posted that Bitcoin whale inflows are increasing. I did see an article about that. Well, you know that GBTC stopped taking inflows of the day. There was some news about that. Let's go find that. You know, I don't. We'll have a correction, obviously. No. I don't like search on this one because it likes to show my addresses. Take that off screen to search, I guess. Yeah. I'll read that. Grayscale temporarily stopped accepting new clients and 6 crypto trusts. So, this happens periodically though, as they well, let's see here. Grayscale periodically, they're right there. Duh. Let's read it. Close off crypto trusts to so-called private placement rounds. This happens from time to time, but I read some FUD that this is going to cause a correction in the Bitcoin price, and well, Bitcoin doesn't look like it cares too much. With Saylor being so out there and open and starting to really, I mean, Michael Saylor's becoming kind of a pump out there talking to Elon and everybody else about it. Now that he's bought 1.3 billion, I guess he's vested in pumping the price up, make himself give him some breathing room. Yeah, I mean, just so much money's flowing in with the. This just happened to DXY. Yeah, I think this is a dead cat bounce, but we'll see. But yeah, I mean, with just the printer keeps going and all the negative CV news lately, we'll see what happens. So anyway, that's about all I really had. Unless somebody has any questions, let me go back over here for questions. Premium got way too high. Yeah, no joke. Tesla has no cash profits to buy BTC. Yeah, it's exact. When I read the same thing, but I think he's got 100. He does have 100 billion, I believe, but that's not money that they've made, but that's from investors. Hold on. Tesla balance sheet. So I think he has. I forget how much money they do have on their balance sheet, but they do have, because they've raised so much capital. Yeah. I think it's like 100, like, I don't know. I'll have to look at their balance sheet. I haven't looked at Tesla's balance sheet. Alan will know better than I would what they actually have on their balance sheet that they could. I mean, and maybe he buys it with, you know, yeah. Curious if it's even possible. Let's see what we got here for cash. At the end of 2019, what is that? $6 billion? Is that right? That's not a whole lot. Unless I'm reading that wrong. Does anybody in here know how much cash Tesla does have as personal net worth? Well, yeah, he had to sell like his stock or something. I have about 20% more position into BTC. You think DCA or wait for a dip? Henry, if If you want my pure opinion, I'd wait for a dip. That's not financial advice. My opinion is I would wait for a dip at this point, even if it's higher, even if the dip is higher than today. But what's the market been showing us? As Jordan correctly pointed out, I was clearly wrong about, this was 17%. So what I kind of think is going to happen, we're going to get a bunch of these smaller 17, 11 in this last one. If this is the end of it, right? If this was the end of that sell-off, that was right at 10%. I think that we're going to see a bunch of smaller dips and then a big 40% one. So I still think we're seeing a big 40% dip at some point. Let's go to the where's our 120-day SMAs at 14.2. But I mean, this price is staying up here this high. It's just dragging these SMAs up. We'll come back to it at some point. It's just a matter of when. I've done this exercise before where if you measure from the top down to where the SMA was, anytime you get over 40% in the Bitcoin chart, it's come back. The price of Bitcoin has come back to meet this SMA at a price at or below that price right there. So before, like at some point in time, this SMA is going to be sold. The price of Bitcoin is coming back down to this price level before the SMA overtakes that price level. It's another way of putting it. So, you know, it very well might be that we get another leg up, we keep dragging this SMA up, and then maybe price comes back down, tests the all-time high, touches that SMA, and off it goes. And it doesn't have to do that, right? Nothing, you know, there's no rule that says Bitcoin has to do this. It's just what's happened every single time we've needed a 40% sell-off or more to go back to the 120-day SMA. We've done so before but it's not imminent. That's not to say that every time we've reached 40%, it immediately sold off the 120-day SMA. That's just saying that. Let me just zoom out here and just kind of illustrate it this way. That's saying that if the SMA keeps being dragged up, so if Bitcoin makes another leg up and consolidates, right, and this SMA keeps getting drug up with that action, so we may have like something like that, right? Oh, it's really bad. It'd be like it'd probably drop and drop and drop, and then it would meet this SMA at some level lower than this price today. So it could be what I just drew in there, or it could be that the SMA gets drugged all the way up to say this line, and then we just kind of, you know, whatever. You get the idea. But every single time in Bitcoin's history we've had a 40% or more, we've met that SMA line at a price below, or, you know, at or below this price point, or below it anyway. Sometimes not significantly. Sometimes it's only just slightly below, but it has come down to touch it. So I would wait for that, whatever that is. So say we make a huge leg up, we go to like 35 or 40,000. We might come back down to 23 or something very briefly, and that's your next best entry, in my opinion. Yeah, it's a Tate. It does. Crazy how high up from 20-week estimate is. Yeah. Someone said DCA in bear market and bull market, not in a trending market. Hey Heath, what's going on? It's around 20 billion on cash on hand for Tesla. Yeah, okay. All right. So, man, they could flip a few billion of that to Bitcoin. So I got some more comments here. Someone posted that Bitcoin premium. It's around 20, but thanks for that, Keith. 40%. Oh my. Yeah. No. That's just what I think is going to happen. I think it's, you know. But the thing is, when you get, I mean, look at Bitcoin's history, right? Hold on. Let's go back to. When you get this parabolic move, you know, when you've moved up, like, where's a 40% sell-off? I think this one might have been right here. When you start to get real volatile to the upside, you know, a 40% sell-off actually isn't that big of a deal because you just moved up a retarded amount. That's 30%. Where's the 40% one? Maybe it's right up here. But look at this. I mean, you're way up here, though. That's 25% from measuring from top down. I thought there was a 40% one somewhere in here. Yeah, there it is right there. All right, so yeah. So I mean, but this is that blue line way down there is the prior all-time high. So well after we had blown past the prior all-time high, you know, people that are buying now near the all-time high. So this is that blue line. So we are. Oh, is this the first cycle? Where are we at? What year is this? 2017. Okay, yeah, it's that last cycle. All right. So this was the prior all-time. Is that right, or this is the purple line? It's purple line right here. It was the prior all-time high. So we are right in here, right? So yeah, for all of us buying right now, at some point in the future, when we sell off 40%, this was it. Yeah, so what, right? We're still up over double, like nearly triple. So we went from where we're at today to 5x back down to, 3x is what that sell-off meant. So it's not like it's the end of the world when you see a 40% sell-off, especially as we get very parabolic in here. But it's going to drag that SMA. Like see how the SMA here was kind of flat, and it just starts getting drugged up by the insanity of the bull market. So just coming back to touch that, I mean, the price could drag that line way up before we come back to touch it. But it's just every single time we've separated 40% or more, we've come back to touch that line before we before the SMA overtook that. And that includes these peaks because, and that'll happen at the peak whenever we all get out, because the bear market is when you come back to touch that at below that level. So anyway, you get the idea. The 40% sell-off might not be that big of a deal because we're going to be way, we could be at, like this is 5,000, we could be at, 50 or 100,000 when the 40% sell-off happens. So imagine we get rejected at like 100,000 and it comes back to 60,000. Well, okay, yeah, we all bought it, around 20,000 or less, so, I mean, we're still feeling pretty good about that. All right, my thoughts on the XRP lawsuit, I think they had it coming. And I think they should get reamed over the coals for some of the stuff that they've done. That's just my opinion. I think XRP. The reason they're able to stay competitive in the technology landscape is because they're able to so heavily fund their company through the way that they manipulate their token. And when that ends, they'll no longer have a technology advantage because they don't have the best engineers anymore or anything like that. They have a lot of money. So when they start losing the ability to pay people top dollar and build these projects, I think they'll start to falter because they're not as lean and mean as some of these other projects. That's just my opinion, but I think this is going to be very bad for XRP. There's your pump and dump. It's not going to be good for them. That's for sure. Have a great day, Satay. Yeah, I think I need to probably wrap up here too. I've got some things, unless there's any other pressing questions. But main thing, I think right now we should all be patient. Let BTC consolidate. Let these alts firm up. Show us where they're at before we enter any swing trades on them. We're getting close. I mean, yeah, you're gonna see. It's gonna happen quickly too. Like it's gonna be like a switch flipped when money starts flowing into these alts and we get a clear alt season, the next leg up in the alt season, it'll be pretty clear. And it'll be, if you guys want to watch the BTCD, you'll get a rejection, come back down. At some point, this'll flip downward, probably below 66. So if you want a good signal as to when we're entering the next leg in alt season, we had like that mini one here at the DeFi thing, right, earlier this year. The next leg down will be a similar drop. This is a very precipitous. I mean, you see how fast it flipped though. It was just going up and then it just went down. Like it was, there's a little bit of posturing around here. Something similar is going to happen. You're going to get this very precipitous drop off, drop back below the 66, and we're back into alts are going to pump. But it'll happen fast. It won't be like, oh, that's what I've noticed with these alts. Is that it's like a flip of a switch. It happens, so you don't get a lot of chance to position in or out, too. So you kind of have to take some breakouts, some small positions on breakouts, and live with having a bunch of small positions on breakout trades. Sitting in an M1 tank. Oh, that's awesome. All right, thanks everybody. Thank you all for your time. I'm gonna turn back on the music for our outro. that's not the one I wanted to use. Kill that music, put back on these guys. Give me some credit here. What we got up here? Yeah. Daemon Gaming TV. Alright, thanks everybody.